So I've spent days, hundreds of hours, researching the entire medical school application process. Reddit, YouTube, Student Doctor Network, podcasts, you name it. I obsess over things, so maybe now you don't have to. And recently, I've been getting lots of questions from undergrads that I know asking about update letters, and I thought it was kind of a lot to explain everything one-on-one, so I thought maybe I could make a video, make it a little easier to explain some of the insights I've gotten over my research. And I also always wanted to make a YouTube, so I guess I was a little selfish in that regard. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, MedMontu. I'm currently a third year, feels a little weird to say, medical student, and today we're diving into a topic that's pretty crucial for medical school applicants, update letters. So if you're currently navigating the AMCAS or ACOMA applications and are wondering about the ins and outs about the process, what you could do to give yourself a little edge, this video is for you. Let's break it down. And make sure you stick around till the end because I have some personalized tips and tricks that I've learned in my own experience that kind of gave me a little edge. So what is an update letter? It's essentially a document, a letter that you send in as communication to medical schools that you applied to inform them of any developments that you've had since the initial application. So this could include new academic grades, clinical experiences, research publications, and any awards you might have gotten, just to name a few examples. Think of a way to keep your application current and to demonstrate ongoing interest in the program. So when should you send these letters in? Timing is key. So just a little fun fact, about 50% of the interviews for MD, DO, PhD interviews are sent out by the end of October. So if you have not gotten an interview by this time, don't panic. That's just the halfway point on average, according to CycleTrack, and I've received one of my interviews well into April. So don't stress if you have not gotten an interview by the end of October. This is a statistic. So typically, schools start sending out interviews at the earliest of mid-July, all the way through April, maybe even later. And for an update letter, you want to be sending it in October, especially if you have substantial updates. Maybe you had a research project that you got published, or you got a fancy award or a scholarship. This is something that you would consider mentioning to them. In January is another time, this is kind of the mid-cycle, and this is to reinforce any interest and to share any achievements you've gotten since you applied. And the third time is probably around April, where you might be waitlisted, and this is to provide the late cycle developments on your application. Remember, always check the school policy before submitting a letter. So how do you make an update letter? How do you create the best update letter that you can? Here's a simple structure that you should try to follow. So always having a header, include your name, your AMC or ACOMA's ID, and your contact information at the top. Then add a greeting to the admissions committee, and if you have a specific contact, that's even better. If not, just address it generally. And then 3, you want to have an introduction. This is going to be where you state the purpose of your writing. In the body, you want to detail your recent experiences, how many hours you completed, if you got a new transcript in, if you got new scores, any scholarships, anything like that in the body. And then at the end, you want to reaffirm your interest in the school and express your gratitude for them taking their time out of the day into considering your application a little bit further. So what are some common mistakes that people do with this? 1, overloading the admissions committees with minor updates. So only share significant things that you think might actually give you a boost. And 2, generic content. People share the same essay to the different schools essentially. They copy paste, don't do that, make it a little bit personalized, tailor it to the school, add in some specific details. If you went on a tour or spoke to someone at the school that is currently a student there, mention that in your letter to express your dedication, but also your willingness to take that extra step. This means that you don't copy paste your letter to all the schools, make it a little bit more specific and personalized to the school you're applying to, and also please change the name of the school to make sure it's correct. I almost didn't do this, and this is a sure way to make sure you don't get an interview, so you don't want to be doing that. And 3, you don't want to spam them. So don't be too frequent and make sure it's meaningful intervals before you're sending in another update letter. You can send more than one in, but just make sure you're not spamming them. And then the next one will be to ignoring their policies. At the end of an interview, they might mention that they accept update letters or they might not. So make sure you take note of that on interview day. It might not be on your website, but they would mention it at the end of the interview, and don't go against what they said, obviously. And how do you submit a update letter? So it kind of varies between the program and the application, basically. So some schools might have a email, and you can just kind of send it to the admissions office, direct it to their email, and attaching your letter as a PDF. And some schools have application portals where you can kind of just attach it on the portal itself as a PDF and just title it as an update letter. Once again, just make sure you're researching their websites and you're sending it in the preferred format that they wanted. They might ask for a PDF or a Word. So remember, if you're waitlisted, that means you're still in the race, and these update letters can give you a little boost and potentially send you over the edge into getting a acceptance in that next stop. So make sure you're using these wisely. Don't overdo it. And you don't always have to send an update letter, but this is something that can really help, in my opinion, especially if you had some significant updates. If you mentioned something in your interview or your application, maybe you projected out hours, you could say, I've completed them. Here's my end of the school year transcript research that I've published since the application. So what are some of my own personal tips and tricks that I've noticed that maybe other students weren't doing? One is printing out the letter and signing it by hand and sending that in as a PDF. That makes it a little bit more authentic. Another trick is you can research their Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram accounts and try to kind of keep it up to date with what the school is doing and mention some of the interesting things that you found intriguing that you would like to participate with them if you were accepted as a student. So I would mention those also in the update letter. Say maybe you ran across a student involved in a clinic if you're local to that school, and so you connected with them at this clinic and they told you about it and can't wait to be involved with that when you're accepted as a medical student alongside the student that you met. Remember, update letters can be a very strategic tool if you time it correctly and send in very significant updates to your application that can kind of give you that leg forward into getting that waitlist turned into an acceptance. So just be organized, be authentic, and keep pushing forward. You got this. Good luck with your application. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you dislike the video, dislike the video, and subscribe for more insights into my med school journey. And if you have any comments, questions, drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.